Hi everyone, my name is Maxim Ulrich. I'm the professor for risk management and financial economics at KIT, and I'm also head of the financial engineering program within the Hector's Masters. Now, the financial engineering program is special in several regards. On the one hand, if you wanted to, you could stay in your workforce, because the program is structured that you could work full-time. And while you're at KIT, you have different modules. That's the second specialization. You have management modules. You can compare that to like an MBA or a master's in management. But you also have engineering modules, which make up 50% of what you do at KIT. With regard to the finance classes, before I go too much into detail, they're also special because KIT is a technical university. So the financial engineering we do is really, I would say, top-notch relative to a typical master's MBA program. Now, when you think about all the concepts that we cover, you might wonder how important is programming? And I mean, programming is important, but not for everyone. So sometimes we have a group of students who would like to understand programming so that they can understand what the quant is doing later when they work as a manager. But we also have students and classes of students where they want to put more focus onto programming. For which student might that program be something to look into in more detail? There are two types of students and everything in between, so it's kind of a continuum. So it's a student who wants to have an MBA education, but with a technology specialization, because the future is technology. And if you want to do data-driven decision-making, the like, then have a look in our program. Now, on the other hand, if you are a quantitative person and you want to make a transition into business, be it you want to work in consultant later on, or you really want to work as a quant or as a developer, then this program is also something you should look at in more detail, because we have these quant aspects, but because of these management modules, which make up 50%, as I said before, you kind of get both worlds. Despite the disparity of the student body, now everyone has at least 2 years of work experience, and the work experience varies. So we have people who did study business, they work in the financial business, but on the other hand, we also have students who studied mathematics, studied computer science, we had chemical engineers, and we had people working for technology firms like a Google. Now, in terms of time commitment, you might wonder how to balance work and studies. Now, we have some students who are focusing on the studies full-time. These are especially students who come abroad and who don't have an employer right now, or they want to switch. On the other hand, we also have these people who want to stay at work. The question is, how can they balance? The point is, of course, you do two things at the same time, so it's clear. I mean, this would be a stressful period. But on the other hand, since it's our program that we are working on for decades already, we also have experience on how to convey and teach the essentials while also staying with our 2-week modules that we have per topic. And while students are here, from my experience over the last 10 years, they are committed 100% on what we do. So therefore, it's our task as professors, and this is kind of what makes it challenging for us. We really need to know exactly what is the most important thing we need to teach. And once we teach that, we also need to know what's the second most important, and does the first connect well to the second. But that we kind of have proficient over the last couple of decades, and therefore we are in a good spot there. Now, of course, what's of interest to you is, where do our alumni work after the studies? And over the years, I've been always amazed on how either the more business-oriented people who come or the technology-oriented come, how they also switch careers or stay in their careers.
My name is Vishalini Balakrishnan, and I'm currently a doctoral research candidate at the Computer Risk and Asset Management Chair at the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology. So prior to joining the Financial Engineering Master of Science, I was a consultant at an international IT consulting firm. And what particularly interested me about the Financial Engineering program was that they had modules with Python applications for finance. And this is very interesting because these modules, they include packages which are widely available and which can be used in conjunction with public generic data like share prices to gain insights, economic insights, and also financial insights that can be used widely, by governments, by research institutes, and also for any potential business ventures in the future. So the FE program covers a lot of in-depth financial mathematics topics and management topics, which is suitable for someone who wants to work in a more in a leaner startup environment or in a large bank as well. So I personally, subsequent to the FE program, I secured a job with a fintech company in Munich. And in that role, I was facing my clients, and the knowledge that I gained from the FE program in terms of more structured financial products enabled me to help my clients in reaching their goals with the software that they were using. Now, my experiences from the FE program and from my work experience has led me to see that there's definitely a vast scope for independent and startups in the financial industry. So my goal would now be to be more an independent researcher or entrepreneur in the financial industry.
Another anecdote that keeps coming back is just a very recent event. We had a student, he came from this business, but he loved coding, finance and the like. And then because of family-related issues, the student needed to reallocate to New York City. Yeah? I say needed, it's nothing bad, of course. But the question is, it's very difficult if you come from Germany to find a job, especially in the city of New York. And then he did the interviews, and a few weeks later, he just writes me, he has a job. It's one of the big financial institutions in the city directly.
My name is Philip Stinson, and I'm an associate with the leading asset manager in New York City. My job is to analyze investment portfolios. So before I got into the financial engineering program, I was working as a financial analyst at a German investment firm, and my background is a general banking education with a bachelor's in banking. What I liked especially was that it starts with foundations of financial engineering and financial economics, starting with factor models, with the mathematics behind it, and then very quickly going into more advanced concepts. And it really provided me with a framework to approach any complex problem I encounter in my day-to-day.
Now, as the program director of the financial engineering program at Hector School, it really gives me joy to see how the students progress and how we also progress the program. And that kind of is deeply rooted in my own desire to create a program that if I was a student and I wanted to specialize in top-notch finance and financial engineering, that I would really like. Yeah, so therefore, if you're interested in the program or you want to know more, just reach out and we get in touch.